Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Transfer Talk. I am Dia and today we'll be discussing the latest Palace transfer rumours of the weekend. We'll be covering all the news that happened over the weekend. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first rumour that we'll be talking about is on Said Benrahma. According to the Athletic, Crystal Palace have declared an interest for the Brentford winger. Benrahma was linked with lots of clubs even before the season ended, and now Palace seem like they're interested in him as well. And there's no surprise to this because he was a fantastic player last season for Brentford, scoring 17 goals and 9 assists in the Championship. Very skillful player. He's a winger. He's very talented on the ball and can score goals as you can see in his goal tally. And he has scored some goals outside the box as well. It's not like he only scores poacher, just like maybe Ollie Watkins, where we talked about him being linked with a move. He's more of a striker, whereas Benrahma is more of a winger, likes to cut in, likes to take shots from outside the box. Would be a brilliant signing, but I just don't see it happening. Because we need other players as well as the likes of Benrahma and the Ezzies and the Watkins that we talked about. But Benrahma, I reckon, would cost around minimum 20 to 25 million for Brentford because there are lots of clubs interested in him. So I don't really see it happening. But if it does happen, it would be a fantastic signing for Palace. But yes, Palace are in the race for Benrahma. Let's see what happens in the coming days and coming weeks. Second rumour of the day is on Siriki Dembele. According to Football Insider, Crystal Palace have set their sights on the Peterborough forward after their bid for QPR star Ezzi was rejected. He's a versatile winger who can operate on either flank and has showed outstanding form following the turn of the year as he managed to contribute 7 assists in 8 games and also chip in with 4 goals of his own. Another attacker, no surprise there, and that's not a bad thing because we have needed attackers for a very long time. So who is he? He's 23 years old. He's played for Peterborough United. As mentioned in the reports, he's got a couple of assists, couple of goals, and I tried to look for his highlights and I found a bit about his play because I want to learn a bit more about how he plays the game. So one thing that I did notice straight away is his height. He's only 5'8", not the tallest, and you can see that on the pitch. But what he does have is that he has the speed and he also has a vision. He likes to give the ball away. He's not greedy in the final third, which could be an advantage. And you can see it in his assist tally this season where he's got 8 assists for Peterborough United. And one advantage out of this, I wanted to check on his contract when his contract does run out, and it's next summer. So if Palace do go ahead with this, then we might be able to get a cheaper deal for him and he could play it in our favour where the likes of Ezzi and Benrahma and even Ollie Watkins, that could cost a bit more in the 20 to 25 million range, whereas maybe Dembele could more fit in our profile and could be a cheaper option rather than them players. But League One football, let's not lie, it is League One football. And we've talked about Championship and we talked about that being a risk, but Championship being a competitive league. But League One is different. It's a completely different league to the Premier League. So I don't know how he would adapt to the Premier League. I guess no one would really know because it's a massive risk. So the risks involved in this transfer are much higher, but I guess the price might be lower. So we'll see what happens in the coming weeks. The next report is on Armel Bella-Kotchap. Palace have been linked with him before, but according to the Athletic, an opening bid has been submitted to Belgium for the centre-back, and there is still no agreement over a fee. He's only had 12 appearances this season for Belgium in the Bundesliga 2 side, which is a bit questionable because he's only 18 years old and has got all this potential that clubs are linked with him. So why on earth is he not playing? That's the only questionable thing about him. But yep, as I said, 18 years old. And I guess if Palace do get him right now, it's not looking likely because, of course, there's no agreement with a bid. And Palace have approached them, but there's, as I've said, no agreement. So this could carry on for I don't know how long when it comes to Palace. But if Palace were to get him, the main advantage would be that I don't really see him starting, but because he's only 18 years old and we've got the likes of Gareth Cahill, James Tompkins, Scott Dann, Sacco, it could be good for his development. So in a couple of years' time, he could reach the levels of his potential that many people are expecting him to be at. So that could be an advantage for the player if he was to join us. And the main advantage from him, from what I've seen in a couple of minutes of highlights, because he hasn't really played that many games, is that he is very strong on and off the ball. But apart from that, I don't know much about him because he hasn't really played as many games. But there have been clubs linked with him, likes of Chelsea, so there must be something in the player there. But we'll see what happens. The Athletic are reporting that we're going after him, and yeah, hopefully we can push through and maybe get a deal, because right now we need young centre backs and we've got an aging whole squad, but we've got an aging centre backs as well. So it will be a positive move if it was to happen, but of course, risky. So the final rumour of the day is on Christian Benteke. According to reports in Belgium, Club Brugge and Antwerp would like to hire Benteke. However, a potential deal is complicated as Palace would prefer to sell him outright. As a report suggested, this would be a difficult move for Palace to go ahead with, because Palace want to sell him outright rather than give him out on loan. Because right now, as it stands, we need Benteke because there's not enough numbers out there. Even though some of you don't like Benteke, what other options are there apart from Jordan Ayew, Benteke? What if one of them gets injured? Then we're in a massive depth crisis. So I feel like we do need Benteke, and sending him out on loan right now with the squad that we have without bringing another striker would not be the smartest move by Palace. And if we was to send him out on loan, on a normal scenario, you would expect the club to be getting him and paying him the wages, his full wages maybe. But I don't see this happening. I feel like Palace, if it was to go to Belgium, I feel like Palace would have to contribute, because I don't see any side in Belgium covering all of Benteke's wages. So I don't think it makes sense right now. As the report suggested, it is a bit complicated. And yeah, I don't think we should get rid of Benteke right now, because we don't have any other options going forward. But some of you may disagree. Let me know. Would you like to see Benteke go out on loan right now and in this current moment when we don't have any other strikers? Let me know. So that's it for today. Hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. As always, if you do enjoy it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future content. And until next time, up the Palace.